SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students, you are welcome in this class. I am Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Principal Scientist from Division of Agronomy, ICAR, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, Pusa Campus, New Delhi. This lecture pertains to the course Agronomy of Oilseed, Fiber and Sugar Crops. The title of the lecture is Origin, History, Spread, Climate, Soil, Morphology, Improved Varieties and Cultural Requirement of Niger seed. The learning objectives of this lecture are to describe the origin, history, spread, climate, soil requirements of Niger seed, and also to explain the morphology, improved varieties and cultural requirement of Niger seed crop. Some glossary, anion exchange capacity. It is the sum total of exchangeable anions that a soil can absorb at a specific pH. Unit is centimoles of charge per kilogram soil. So it is similar to the cation exchange capacity, but only difference is in cation exchange capacity we count the exchangeable cations, and in anion exchange capacity we count the anions. So that is the difference. Best management practices that are technically and economically feasible, and for which significant water conservation or water quality benefits can be achieved. Center of origin, geographic region containing a concentration of genetic diversity of one or more species. So center of origin is basically related to diversity of the species. A species where it has largest or highest diversity is considered as that particular place as center of origin. Common pesticide name given to a specific pesticide, active ingredient. Many pesticides are known by a number of trade or brand names. Direct application, precise application to a specific area or plant organ, such as to a row or to a bed or to the leaves or to the stem or plant, or sometimes it is given to the trunk part of the trees. Drill seeding, planting directly into the soil with a machine in rows. Spacing is usually 6 to 48 inches apart, and it is opposite of broadcast seeding. Stubble, basal part of herbaceous plants left after top portion has been harvested. So stubbles are quite common, particularly when cereal crops like rice and wheat are harvested by combine machine, and we can find some portion of the stem is still anchored to the soil. Those anchored residues are your actually stubbles. It also happens in case of sugarcane. Surface water, water that is on the earth's surface, that is in a stream, river, lake or reservoir. It is opposite of groundwater. Surge irrigation, method of irrigation using computerized valves to turn water supply on and off to move water more uniformly down the field. Now, dear students, you can see the flower of this crop. This is Niger seed flower. Now, let us understand the importance of this crop. So, basically, Niger seed is an oilseed crop. So, scientific name is Gujotia abyssinica. It is an annual oilseed crop cultivated mostly in Ethiopia and India. It is an underutilized and high-value oilseed crop, and it is a lesser known annual oilseed crop and is valued primarily for its nutritive edible oil and has a wide range of uses from its edible oil to medicinal purposes. There are variety of uses of its oil, and it is definitely a high-value crop. Although a minor oilseed crop, it is of considerable importance for tribal communities, being grown under rain-fed conditions on eroded shallow and marginal soils, especially on hill slopes. So you can see this crop is basically grown on soils which are poor in soil fertility, or you can call them submarginal or marginal kind of soils. Cultivation is restricted to marginal lands that are otherwise not suitable for cultivation of many remunerative crops, and it is of secondary importance and grown during retreating monsoon and with low or no inputs. So cost of cultivation in this crop is really very minimum or less. Niger seed is principally say 75% used for the extraction of oil in India, means larger part of Niger seed crop are used for extraction of oil. However, it is also used say 18% for food in various forms, including in confectionery, and rest is used for some other purposes. Niger crop supports apiary and is a source of wild honey of high value. So this is also interesting that if a farmer is growing the crop of Niger seed, he or she can have beekeeping enterprise also. So it helps in the business of beekeeping. As the crop has been restricted cultivation with tribal communities, almost all the produce is considered organic and being exploited. That is the advantage, because here the input use is quite low, or otherwise farmers are not using chemical fertilizer. So therefore, this kind of product can be made into organic product very easily. Niger is also used as a green manure to increase the organic matter content. In certain parts, it is being utilized as a green manure crop, and you know at a certain stage of crop, it can be turned down into the soil, and this green manure adds nutrients to the soil, and it also improves the physical, chemical and biological properties of the soil, and it particularly increases the water holding capacity of soil by enhancing or improving the soil structure. So Niger seed is used as human food. Seed contains about 35 to 40% oil, and the oil are pale yellow with a nutty taste and a pleasant odor. The oil is used for culinary purposes, anointing the body, manufacturing paints and soft soaps, lighting and lubrication, and of course certain cosmetics manufacturing. Niger oil is a good absorbent of the fragrance of flowers, which is used as a base oil in the perfume industry. There are reports that Niger oil is used for birth control and also for the treatment of syphilis. Niger seed oil is also rich in important minerals like sodium, magnesium, zinc, calcium, copper and potassium. It contains 483 calories. Oil content in seed is 30 to 40%. Protein could be 10 to 25%. Soluble sugars can be 12 to 18%. Crude fiber 10 to 20%. Moisture 10 to 11%. And ash or minerals you can say are 4%. So by seeing this data, one can surely say that this crop, the seed of this crop is quite nutritious. It is used as a substitute for olive oil, which is also very expensive, and as an adulterant for rapeseed, sesame and linseed oil. Following oil extraction, the seed cake. Seed cake can be stored and used as an animal feed supplement. As we know that Niger seed can be used to extract the oil. After extraction of oil, the cake is left, which is also called as a meal. And this meal also contains many nutrients and rich in some other aspects, and it can be easily or it can be suitably used for feeding the livestock. Niger seed meal is reported to be free from toxic substances and contains more crude fiber than most other oilseed meals. Niger seed cake is valuable cattle feed, particularly for the milch cattle. Here milch cattle means the cattle or animal which is giving you the milk. Now coming to the next aspect, which is origin and history. Though the crop is native to tropical Africa, it is widespread and cultivated extensively in India in the 19th century and known from the Broca's report in London. Globally, it is cultivated in tropical and subtropical countries, mainly in Ethiopia, India, East Africa, West Indies, and Zimbabwe. There is evidence that Niger originated in the highlands of Ethiopia, north of 10 degree north latitude. Cultivated Niger may have originated from the wild species Gujotia scabra, subspecies Iskim peri, due to possible selection by Ethiopian farmers thousands of years ago. From Ethiopia, it is believed to have migrated into the East African countries or East African highlands, and during the second millennium BC may have moved across to India with other crops such as finger millet as part of the savanna complex. So besides this crop, some other crops were also imported into India during that period, which includes finger millets. The ancient Agau people of Ethiopia were the major cultural and agricultural force in that country who had contact with contemporary Egypt. So most probably crops from the two countries, that is Ethiopia and Egypt, were interchanged via the Nile river and thence more widely spread along traditional trade routes. So it might have come to different countries from Ethiopia to Egypt and then to some other countries. Another possible method was via the Arabian or Pulse Gulf traders who in very early times had direct contact with both the East African and Indian coast and used the monsoon winds to sail their dhows regularly between them. Niger crop is widespread in India as indicated by the great variety of local names for the plant and seed. So it was introduced into the USSR, then USSR, now Russian Federation, by Vavilov. Vavilov was a famous scientist from Ethiopia. It was tried on a field scale in 1926 in Russia, but never achieved any success as a commercial crop. In Ethiopia, Niger is popularly known as Nog. The low seed yield made it unprofitable and unlikely to be able to compete with major crops. It has been grown in many other countries on a minor scale. In Canada, for example, it was evaluated for potential oilseed crops but was considered unsuitable for commercial production. The Niger plant has an extremely low harvest index, and inputs such as fertilizer promote vegetative growth rather than increase in seed yield. So this is also a limitation even today. Harvest index means what proportion of total biological yield goes to the economic yield or goes to the seed yield. It can be easily worked out by dividing the economic yield by stover plus grain yield and multiplied by 100. So which is still very low in many countries. Now we go to world area production and productivity of Niger seed crop. So world production statistics for Niger seed are limited and tend to be unreliable. We do not have data even on Food and Agriculture Organization FAO stat. India is the most important country in the world, accounting for more than 50% of the world's Niger area and production. Niger constitute about 50 to 60% of Ethiopian oilseed production. In that country, it is very, very important. With an area of nearly 0.2 million hectare and about 0.1 million tons of production in Nigeria, in Ethiopia, however, the productivity level is very low, which is just 500 kilogram per hectare in Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, it is cultivated on waterlogged soils, where most crops and all other oilseeds fail to grow and contribute a great deal to soil conservation land and land rehabilitation. So this is a positive aspect of this crop, that it has been cultivated in Ethiopia, particularly under waterlogged conditions. Now there must have been certain mechanism by which this crop can tolerate waterlogging. So Niger is also grown as a minor oilseed crop in countries like Sudan, Uganda, Zaire, Tanzania, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Pakistan, West Indies, Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh, etc. Now see the trends of area, production and yield in India. So you see in the first column we can see different years: 1971, 72, 81, 82, 91, 92, 2001, 2, 2011, 12, 21 and 21, 22, 22. Different years are there and the latest data is available for 2022, 23. Now come to the next column, column number 2, where area is given in million hectare. In 1971-72, area in India was 0.49 million hectare, which increased to 0.6 million hectare in next decade from 1981 to 82. Then in 91-92 it became 0.64. There was increase in area up to 1992, and in the next decade you can see area started falling and continuously it is decreasing. So by now at present the area is roughly about 0.1 million hectare, which is definitely a matter of concern that area under Niger seed crop is declining despite its several benefits and several qualities. Now see the production. Production is also having the same kind of trend. In 1971-72, production was 0.12 million ton, then increased to 0.16, followed by 0.18 up to 1991-92. There was an increasing trend in production. But after that, more or less, you can see the production declined, continuously declined, and at present in year 2022-23, the production is only 0.03 million tons. If you multiply it by 10 to the power 6, you will get data in tons. Now coming to the yield, yield has increased but not at an increasing rate. It has steadily and slowly increased over years. So in 1971-72, yield was 235 kilogram per hectare. Then there was increase in 1981-82 to 265 kilogram. Next decade it was 280 kilogram, and then again it started falling. And from 2021 it started increasing, and at present in year 2022-23, the average seed yield of this crop was 325 kg per hectare, which is really still very low. Now, what are the states in India that contribute maximum in area, production and productivity of this crop? So you can see Odisha is the number one state, Odisha, where it is grown in 22-23 on an area of 0.035 million hectare with a production of 0.013. So you can see Odisha is the state in India where Niger seed is grown on highest area or maximum area, and it also produces highest crop of Niger. Next important state is Chhattisgarh, which is having 0.025 million hectare area and production of 0.005 million tons. The third important state is Madhya Pradesh, having 0.01 million hectare area with a production of 0.003 million tons, followed by Maharashtra, 0.005 million hectare and production is 0.001 million tons, and last is your Assam, 0.005 million hectare and production of 0.003 million tons. So you can see the productivity. Productivity of this crop is highest in Assam, which is about 596 kilogram per hectare. The next state or important state among the list in productivity of Niger seed is Odisha, which has produced 371 kg per hectare of the seed. And next is your Madhya Pradesh, where it is 303 kg per hectare productivity, followed by Maharashtra having 248 kilogram productivity per hectare, and then last among the list is Chhattisgarh producing 206 kilogram Niger seed per hectare. So overall from this data we can see that Odisha is the number one state in area and production, and Chhattisgarh is number two state in area and production, and productivity of Niger seed crop is highest in Assam. Now what are the major issues limiting the productivity of Niger? Just now you have seen the yield levels of this crop are very low in India, even in different states also. So number one reason is that rain-fed cultivation on hill slopes and eroded lands. So definitely rain-fed cultivation results in poor yield mainly because of water stresses. Number of water stresses are there, and such kind of soils are also eroded soils because it is grown on the slopes. So therefore such soils are not very fertile and results in poor productivity. If some arrangement for irrigation can be made, it will result in increased productivity of this crop. Next is low harvest index and indeterminate nature of growth with shattering of seed. So as already discussed what is harvest index, by now you know, and the value of harvest index are very, very low. Another limitation with this crop is that if it is not harvested at right maturity and at right time, then shattering of the seed can also happen, which results in reduced yield. Then non-adoption of recommended package of practices. So number of recommendations have come to grow this crop more efficiently, like varieties, optimum seed rate, fertilizer application and so on. So number of packages have been suggested, but these are in general not adopted by the farmer, resulting in poor productivity of seed of this crop. Delayed sowing in many cases result in lower yields. There is no doubt about it, because if sowing is delayed beyond the optimum time, then it is going to have poor growth, it is going to have poor population, and sometimes abiotic and abiotic stresses may be more under delayed sowing. Therefore, all these factors may result in reduced seed productivity of this crop. Broadcast method of sowing results in very high population or low population. Many farmers still practice the broadcasting method. They do not go for line sowing or sowing in rows. So therefore, under those conditions, the population is not optimum. When you broadcast the seed, some of the seed can go very deep into the soil, which will not germinate, and some seed can remain on the surface itself. And also there may be difficulties in intercultural operations if we go for broadcasting. Therefore, if we go for drill sowing, then we can place the seed at right depth and we can definitely increase the productivity of this crop. Cuscuta infestation is another problem that can limit the yield. So in this case, Cuscuta is a weed, Cuscuta reflexa, and it is kind of a stem parasite, and it affects the yield of this crop severely. Now, after seeing all these limitations factor, definitely there is scope to improve the yield if we can overcome all these limitations. Now, let us see the taxonomy of this crop, and as you know that taxonomy means classification of the crop. The genus Gujotia has 6 species, of which 5 including Niger are native to the Ethiopian highlands. All species are native to tropical Africa and 5 are found in Ethiopia. Cultivated Niger has a complement of 2n is equal to 32 chromosomes. There is evidence that introgression of genes from the VD species into cultivated Niger can occur. Cultivated Niger has been reported to hybridize easily with G. Scabra species Skimperi and sets viable seeds, but rarely with other wild species. So now, after classification or taxonomy, let us see the morphology of this crop, means external appearance of its root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit and seed, etc. So let us start with the root. As many of you know that plant is comprised of 2 parts. One is root, which is hidden half, which normally remains under the soil, and shoot part, which is above the ground. So in case of root, the system is usually well developed here with a central taproot system, because it is a dicot crop, and branching laterals. There may be some horizontal roots, but since the plant is often grown on poor or stony soils, roots seldom develop to their maximum, or sometimes the depth of the soil may be very shallow. So under those conditions, the root growth is restricted. The parenchymas may develop in Niger only when the plants are grown under high waterlogging conditions and transport oxygen within the cormus into the root system. This is very interesting fact. Such kind of situation happens mainly in rice and in some other aquatic plants, but you must have not ever listened that it can happen in oilseeds also. So this niger is an example, particularly in Ethiopia, where it thrives under waterlogged conditions, mainly by forming erenchymatous tissues in its cells, and these erenchymatous tissues can easily aerate the root. The oxygen from atmosphere can be transported to the root system, and then the root system is less affected and it continues to function normally. Now stem, what kind of a stem is there? So plant is erect, moderately branched, annual herb and grows up to the height of 2 meter. Stem is round, smooth to slightly rough, approximately 1 to 2 centimeter in diameter. At base, when mature, up to 150 centimeter in height, but usually less, bearing small, soft hairs, stem hollow and break easily. So you can see it has got some very soft hairs. You can see on the stem, and you can also see the color greenish, and then on the bottom side you can see it is purplish also. So color is green to reddish green depending on cultural conditions and becomes yellowish with age. Moderately branched means it is not heavily branched, and degree of branching and height at which branching commences is dependent on the environment. Now see the leaf on the right side, you can see the shape of the leaves here, and it is giving quite bushy kind of appearance. The first leaf is paired and small, and successive leaves are larger in size. The leaves are opposite. Opposite means they are borne like this. You can see this is opposite. So such kind of options are there, and in some crops and plants you find alternate leaves like this. They are attached to the branch or to the stem. This is alternate and that one is opposite. So leaves are opposite, sometimes alternate on the upper stem. Sessile. Sessile means they do not have petiole. Lanceolate 10 to 20 centimeter in length and 3 to 5 centimeter in width, and softly hairy on both surfaces. So they are also having some small or soft hairs. The leaf margin is dentate and the blade tapers to a point. So you can say it is just like dentate here, or this kind of pattern is there. This is your dentate. Now coming to the flower, flower is the capitula. It is called as flower heads, are surrounded by leafy involucral bracts arranged in numerous rows, the outer bracts being leaf-like lanceolate and up to 2 centimeter in length. A plant may produce 30 to 40 flower heads. This is the number of flower heads per plant, and each flower head may be considered as an inflorescence. Flowers develop from leaf axils in clusters of 2 to 5. The heads flower over an extended period of 15 to 20 days. And since this results in uneven ripening, losses from shattering can be high. So you can see the flowering period of this crop is extended for 15 to 20 days, or you can say around 2 to 3 weeks. Now you can see the flower of this crop or niger seed crop. You can see the outside flowers or petals, they are looking quite bright and yellow in color. They are actually ray florets, and in the central part you are seeing these are disc florets. So these are the florets which will give you the seed. Now you can see a more clear picture of this flower. See the number C, this one. This one you can see, this is hermaphrodite disc floret. Hermaphrodite means bisexual. So it will have both male and female organs in it, and this is a complete kind of flower. Then pistillate ray floret at D. D is pistillate ray floret. This one, you can see this one is pistillate ray floret. So this has only pistil. Upper part of disc floret, number E, you can see this E1. This is upper part. Upper part of disc floret tube laid open with the stamens. You can also find stamens here. And number F is this one, and this is your pistil. So ovary on the bottom, and also you can see style, this part is style and these are stigma, and H is your sepals. These are the sepals. Sepals are part of the calyx, and you know petals are part of corolla. The period from emergence to flowering is approximately 70 to 90 days, which is directly affected by the climate. This is kind of duration. Flowers on the capitula are of two kinds. One is disc, other is ray florets. You have just now seen the disc florets and ray florets. The latter can number 8 to 15, the disc ray floret, and 5 to 20 millimeter long, bright yellow, becoming more golden with age, and they are sterile. They cannot produce the seed. And disc florets, actual florets that produce the seed, are less than 45 in number, are arranged in 3 holes. 3 holes means just like this, 1, 2, 3. 3 holes, those at the edge opening first, followed progressively by the next in the line to the center of the head, as with sunflower. So you can see in the first hole, this one is the first hole of disc floret, it will flower first. Flowering will happen in this part first, then in second, followed by in third. So it goes towards the center. The disc florets are yellow to orange with yellow anthers and a densely hairy stigma. The process is usually completed in 5 to 8 days. A floret opens and liberates pollen early in the morning. The style emerges about midday and the stigma lobes separate and curl backward in the evening. The stigma lobes rarely curl sufficiently to touch the style, and the plant is thus basically self-sterile. So cross-pollination is going to happen. Insects are more important than wind as pollinators here. And although niger is basically cross-pollinated, some self-pollination is known to occur. Very small percentage can be self-pollination. Otherwise, in majority of the cases, it is cross-pollinated crop. The temperature at flowering affects the duration of this period and also the fertility of the pollen. And for Indian strains of niger, a temperature of 30 degrees centigrade or above adversely affect both. So means you need to have some moderate temperature, optimum temperature, where you can get more pollination and more fertilization. If temperatures are too high, then those kind of temperature can reduce the fertility or they can reduce the fertilization. Now coming to the morphology of the fruit is an achene like it is in sunflower, typical of the Asteraceae family, and is small, some 3 to 5 millimeter in length and 1.5 millimeter in width, almost lanceolate in shape without pappus. The testa is hard, glossy means shiny, and usually black, but the mottled seed may occasionally occur. Normally 1000 seed weight is in the range of 3 to 5 gram. There are usually between 15 and 30 mature seeds per head. So in one head you can get 15 to 30 seeds, and also the 1000 seed weight is very small, which is just 3 to 5 gram. Now you can see the color and shape of the seed of niger. It is blackish here, and here you can see whitish brown. Now coming to the climatic requirement, what kind of rainfall or what kind of temperature is needed by this crop, that is your climatic requirement. So niger is temperate region crop that has also adapted to semi-tropical environment. It is a short day plants. There is a distinct variation in the photoperiodic response of Ethiopian and Indian niger types. So both respond differently to the photoperiod or length of the day. In summary, it is understood that the Ethiopian types are short day and the Indian types are quantitative short day types. It grows well between 200 and 2500 meter above mean sea level. This is the limit of the altitude, but can be found at much higher altitudes. However, the highest recorded seed yields are produced between 500 to 1000 meter altitude under semi-tropical environments. So this is the most suitable altitude for this crop. 500 to 1000 meter. Niger requires moderate temperature during growth, which is about 18 to 23 degrees centigrade. You can say it is quite pleasant temperature, and above 30 degrees centigrade, the rate of growth and flowering are adversely affected and maturity is hastened. Means if you get higher temperature, the maturity comes faster. A seedbed temperature of 17 to 25 degrees centigrade is optimum, and below 10 degrees centigrade impairs germination, and above 30 degrees centigrade causes uneven emergence. So this is the range 17 to 25 degrees centigrade, the ideal one. A rainfall of 1000 to 1300 millimeter is considered optimum, although 800 millimeter will produce a reasonable yield if spread over the growing period. Growth is depressed in areas receiving above 2000 millimeter of rainfall, means very heavy or extreme rainfall can be harmful to this crop. The crop can withstand periods of very high soil moisture during the vegetative phase and is also resistant to drought. This is quite interesting fact. The peak flowering period of the crop should not coincide with the rainy period, as the honeybees, which are the main pollinators of this crop, are disturbed, and this results in poor seed set. So we should arrange the time of sowing and growth period of crop in such a way so that the honeybee activities are not affected, because honeybees are the main pollinator of this crop. High wind or hail when the seed is mature will cause severe shattering. Now, after climatic requirements, let us see the soil requirement for this crop. The crop prefers light texture soil, but well-drained heavy soils could also be used for the cultivation of niger crop. The common heavy clays and black cotton soils, that is verticose, are not the most suitable for niger, although it is often sown on them. The crop grows well in soils with having pH 5.2 to 7.3. So you can see it prefers slightly acidic pH. Niger grows equally well on either drained or waterlogged clays. Niger is extraordinarily resistant to poor oxygen supply in soil because of its ability to develop parenchymas under these conditions. The parenchymas develop only when niger plants are grown under high waterlogging conditions and transport oxygen with the cormus into the root system. Niger can tolerate salinity to some extent. Increasing salinity from 0 to 4 millimoles per centimeter depress the emergence by 10% or less than 10%, but at 8 millimoles per centimeter emergence was halved. So it does not tolerate much of the salinity conditions. Flowering is delayed with increasing salinity. It is often found growing in poor, sandy or stony soils. Now, coming to the cropping system, what are the options for cropping system? So this crop can be fitted in sequential cropping, which is known as crop rotation, and also in intercropping system. So there are two main options available for this crop. So let us see a sequential cropping system. Niger is cultivated in 9 agro-ecoregions of India belonging to arid, semi-arid, subhumid, humid and coastal ecosystems. The subhumid ecosystem has highest area and production of niger, while the highest productivity is recorded in humid ecosystem, which is quite common in Assam. Niger is grown either as a sole crop or sown mixed with various pulses, oil seeds and grain crops, including millets in different states of India. So it can be grown as a sole crop as well as an intercrop. Both options are open. So yield of niger as a sole crop is higher than as a mixed crop. In mixed cropping, the yield of this crop decreases, as it is common for many other crops also, and yield is more when it is grown as a sole crop or single crop. The row ratio vary as per the convenience and proportion of crop produce requirement when grown in the regular Kharif season. When grown in late Kharif, it is grown as a pure crop, succeeding short duration millet or a pulse crop. In certain situations, this crop is rotated with kharif crops such as millets, pulses in sequential cropping. In general, growing niger with preceding pulse crop is more remunerative. Definitely, if niger is following a legume crop, it will be definitely benefited by the nitrogen fixed by the legume, and that nitrogen can be left in the soil and used by the succeeding crop of niger. Whenever a single crop of niger is prevalent, it is worthwhile to include pulse crop as preceding crop. Now we can see example of sequential cropping systems, state and crops. So Bihar and Jharkhand, you can see urd bean, niger, early rice and then niger, little millet, niger, early finger millet and then followed by niger. In Maharashtra, finger millet, niger, horse gram, niger, Odisha, little millet, niger, common millet, niger, finger millet, niger and French bean followed by niger. For Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, urd bean could be the first crop and followed by niger. Now see some other states like Bihar and Jharkhand, these are the intercropping systems. So in Bihar and Jharkhand, you can have niger plus finger millet 2:2. 2:2 ratio means 2 rows of niger and 2 rows of finger millet, and they go in the same sequence through the field. Then niger plus pigeon pea 3:2 ratio, 3 rows of niger and 2 rows of pigeon pea. Then niger plus rice bean 4:2, niger plus soybean 2:1, niger plus urd bean 2:2 and niger plus groundnut 2:2. And then for Karnataka state, niger plus sunflower 4:2 ratio means 2 oil seeds can be taken together. And then niger plus groundnut 6:3, 6 rows of niger and 3 rows of groundnuts. You can see this is quite interesting cropping system where one oil seed, that is niger, is combined with groundnut. So here one is legume, and many studies have suggested that legume can transfer some of the nitrogen fixed by it to the associated crop. So niger crop can take benefit of nitrogen from the groundnut crop even during the growing season. Other examples are for Madhya Pradesh, niger plus soybean 1:1 or 2:2, niger plus mung bean 2:2, niger plus palm millet 2:2. For Chhattisgarh, niger plus kodo millet 2:2, niger plus groundnut 4:2 or 6:3, niger plus kutki 2:2, niger plus sorghum 3:3. So here 3 rows of niger and 3 rows of sorghum. Maharashtra, niger plus urd bean 3:3, niger plus mung bean 2:2, niger plus horse gram 2:2 or 4:2, niger plus rice bean 2:2 or 4:2. Similarly, niger plus finger millet 2:2 or 4:2, and niger plus groundnut 6:3, and niger plus palm millet 3:3. So you are seeing there are variety of options where some cereals, some other oil seeds, some legumes can be intercropped with the niger crop. Odisha, niger plus soybean 1:1 or 2:2, niger plus pigeon pea 2:2, niger plus finger millet 6:3, niger plus groundnut 6:3, and niger plus castor 4:2. Andhra Pradesh, niger plus castor 4:2, and niger plus cowpea, one legume is there, 4:2. Now, after seeing different crops and cropping system where this crop can be fitted, so in some cases it is being grown as a sole crop, and in other cases it is being grown as an intercrop. So now after that, now we see the varietal improvement. What are the important varieties of this crop? So you see what are the varieties for Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. So in this case, first column is for state variety, and then seed yield, kg per hectare, duration in days. This duration is from seed to seed, and then oil percent in niger and certain salient feature. So first variety is JNC1. Seed yield is 650 to 700 kilogram per hectare. The duration is 90 to 100 days. Oil content is 36 to 40%, and the color of the seed is black. Next variety is JNS9. Seed yield is 650 to 700 kilogram per hectare. Duration is 95 to 100 days. Oil percentage is 36 to 40%, and seed is black, and this variety is tolerant to moisture stress. JNS28 is next variety. The yield potential is 550 to 650 kilogram per hectare. Its duration is 100 to 110 days. Oil percentage is 34 to 36, and the color of the seed is black and tolerant to Cercospora and Alternaria leaf spot. The Cercospora and Alternaria leaf spot in this crop are fungal diseases. See, the varieties for Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh continues. The next variety is JNS30. The seed yield potential is 550 to 600 kilogram per hectare. Duration in days is 100 to 105. Oil percentage is 35 to 37%, and salient features are that seed shining black, tolerant to Cercospora and Alternaria leaf spot. So these are the salient characteristics of this variety. Now let us see the varieties which are suitable for Odisha state. The first variety is GA10. The yield potential of this variety is 600 to 650 kilogram per hectare, and duration is 110 to 115 days. Oil percentage is 38 to 40, and it is tall and dark black seeds are there. Next is Utkal Niger 150. The seed yield potential is 650 to 700 kilogram per hectare. Duration is 105 to 110 days, and oil content is 38 to 40%, and the color of the seed is black, and it is tolerant to Alternaria and Cercospora leaf spot. Now let us check the varieties for Maharashtra state. IGP 76 is important variety for Maharashtra, and the yield potential of this variety is 450 to 500 kg seed per hectare. Duration in days is 95 to 105 days, and oil percentage is 35 to 38%, and seed is black and widely adopted all over India. And then next variety for Maharashtra is N5. The seed yield potential is 500 to 600 kilogram per hectare, and duration in days is 95 to 100 days, and this duration is basically from seed to seed, from the sowing up to the harvesting. And then oil percent in N5 is 35 to 38%, and the seed is small and black, and sickle shaped seeds are there. Sickle shaped seed is like this, you can see, like this. Then the varieties for Maharashtra continues. Next variety is IGPN 2004-1. The seed yield potential is 650 to 700 kilogram per hectare, and duration in days is 95 to 105 days, and oil percentage is 38 to 40%, and seed is shining black and resistant to powdery mildew. Powdery mildew is yet another disease in this crop, which is mostly or rather compulsorily by a fungus. IGPN 8004, the seed yield potential is 500 to 550 kilogram per hectare. Duration is little longer than other varieties, 100 to 105 days, and oil content is also good, which is about 39 to 41%, and it is a bold seeded variety with shiny black color. Now let us see the varieties for Bihar and Jharkhand. So number one variety here is Birsa Niger 1. The seed yield of this variety is 550 to 600 kilogram per hectare, and duration in days is 95 to 100, and oil percentage in this variety is 36 to 38%, and seeds are light black and recommended for uplands. BNS 10 is next variety for Bihar and Jharkhand. The seed yield potential is 650 to 700 kilogram per hectare, duration 95 to 100 days, and oil content is 36 to 38%, shining black seeds. So in fact, why I am just discussing these varieties, this is important to learn that these varieties are recommended for a particular region. the variety which is recommended for Bihar may not be exactly fit for Maharashtra. So that is why these varieties are region specific. Karnataka state, the variety is RCR 18. Seed yield is 500 to 550 kilogram per hectare. Duration in days is 95 to 105 days, and oil content is little lower, 33 to 35%, shining black seed and robust growth habit. RCR 317, the seed yield potential is 600 to 650 kilogram per hectare. Duration is very short duration, 90 to 95 days, or you can say 3 months, and oil content is 35 to 38%, and the color of the seed is black. Now coming to the land preparation for this crop. So Niger seed is actually very small. Therefore, a level seed bed is essential to ensure an even depth of planting and subsequent emergence. So it is really very necessary to have leveling of the field also, because leveling will result in uniform distribution of water and uniform distribution of other resources also. So these days what we are seeing that laser land leveler is being used at a very large scale in the country, and farmers have opted for this. At least once in 3 years, the field should be leveled by laser leveler wherever feasible, and it saves lot of resources. Since Niger is mostly grown as an intercrop, lands are cultivated to suit the most important component. So whatever crops are there in the intercropping system, the land preparation should be done based for the main crop. Good tilth for sowing is obtained by 1 or 2 plowings followed by 2 harrowings wherever feasible. Even under any circumstances, sometimes there may be hard pan, and that hard pan stops the growth of the roots as well as many times percolation of water, and you will face or farmers can face the waterlogging situations. So that hard pan should be broken down by deep plowing with disc plow, or chiseling can also be done. So this will help in better growth of the root and non-stagnation of water or waterlogging conditions may not be there. It is essential that the furrows run across the slope to avoid soil erosion in the hilltops and slopy areas. So this is really quite good suggestion that plowing should not be done along the slope, but it should be done across the slope. Proper land configuration to avoid waterlogging is important for the success of Niger. In any case, sufficient arrangement should be made for drainage of the excess water in this crop. Now coming to the seed treatment, by seed treatment one can save many diseases from coming to the main field. So seed should be treated with Thiram, Captan or any other mercurial fungicide at the rate of 3 gram per kg of seed prior to sowing. This is quite common practice and recommended for most of the oilseed crops. Seed treatments saves lot of money of the farmer. To protect the crop from seed and soil-borne diseases, the seed should be treated with carbendazim 5 gram per kg or Trichoderma viridi 10 gram per kg of seed before sowing. Trichoderma viridi is a kind of bioagent and which is being frequently used by farmers these days. So in place of chemicals or in place of chemical fungicides, one can use this Trichoderma viridi also. Rate is little higher, that is 10 gram per kg of seed. Now coming to the sowing time, what could be the ideal sowing time for this crop? See, for Andhra Pradesh, second week of August is the best sowing time. For Bihar or Jharkhand, second fortnight of August to first week of September. In Karnataka, July to August is the ideal time for sowing. For Madhya Pradesh, second to third week of July to second week of August is the best time of sowing. For Maharashtra, July to early September is the right time of sowing. For Odisha, third week of July to first week of September. For Gujarat, second fortnight of August to September, and July to August during Kharif, and October to November during Rabi. So you are seeing different time of sowing for different regions or states. And now we go to the seed rate and spacing. Generally 5 to 8 kg seed is required when sown in pure stands. So you can see the quantity of seed is very small. Row widths vary from 20 to 30 centimeter depending on soil moisture and fertilizer management. So generally it is 20 to 30 centimeter distance between two rows. In low rainfall areas, a wider row width should be chosen. So also under better management, wider rows can promote more branches and capitula and higher seed yield. Interplanted crops are sown according to the share of niger in relation to the major crop. Means if the major crop has more area, more proportion, then seed rate for niger will be less. Thinning should be done to maintain the required plant population within the rows after 2 weeks of sowing. Thinning operation is necessary to get the optimum plant population. Sometimes extra seed is used, so that crowding should be avoided. For this purpose, we can go for thinning. The recommended spacing is given on next slide. So you can check here seed rate and spacing, particularly spacing here. Andhra Pradesh 30 into 10, Bihar, Jharkhand 30 into 15, Karnataka 30 into 10, and similarly for Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh 30 into 10, Maharashtra 30 into 15, and for Odisha 20 into 20. So these are different spacing. In general, you can say it is 30 by 10 to 15 centimeters. Now coming to the method of sowing, this is also important. Generally there could be two kind of methods. One is broadcasting method, other is drilling method. So niger is mostly broadcast sown. Seed is sometimes mixed with sand or powdered farmyard manure ash 20 times for uniform distribution actually, so that the distribution of the seed is uniform, because quantity of seed is very small for 1 hectare area. The land is then harrowed to cover the seed. Line sowing across the slope is recommended for better soil and moisture conservation and efficient drought management. In hilly area, sowing should be done across the slope, not along the slope. Besides, niger is more prone to cuscuta spread and often result in uneven population, poor growth and yield. Line sowing aids in maintaining optimum plant population, interculture, weeding and plant protection. Line sowing behind the seed drill or plough at the recommended spacing of 45 centimeter has been found to be beneficial under certain circumstances. And sowing in rows using a seed drill can also be practiced. When mechanical planters or drills are used, the seed should be sown at a depth of 1 to 3 centimeter. Normal depth of sowing is 1 to 3 centimeter. Sowing up to 10 centimeter depth is possible in those soils in which case the drill furrow should not be completely filled. Since the seed is small, a method of accurately adjusting seed flow is essential. The seed can be mixed with sand or ash to give the required bulk. The seed should not be mixed with fertilizer nor placed in contact with it in the seed bed. Dear students, hope you enjoyed the lecture. Thank you very much.